Hello guys, it's One Piece Day again. Welcome to my channel, and let's talk about One Piece manga chapter 1072, Weight of Memories. In the previous chapter, Luffy relays to his crewmates that the scientist will be joining their voyage. The dome opens, allowing Cypher Pole to locate the Thousand Sunny and attack it. Zoro, who was taking a nap on the ship, wakes up and defends it. Dr. Vegapunk requests to take all his satellites on board the Thousand Sunny, as well, a request that Luffy mindlessly grants. Other places in New World are also becoming eventful. Kid and his pirate crew have finally arrived at their next destination. Surprisingly, it turns out to be a place directly from the legends, the giant's very own hometown of Elbaf. Garp, Luffy's grandfather, is also causing a ruckus at the naval base G14. But before anything else, please click the bell, like, share, and subscribe to my channel, AnimeJack. Thank you. The cover image suggests some time has passed in between. Judge, Queen, and Caesar are seen in different clothes. Queen is preparing viruses, Judge making his spear, and Caesar creating a devil fruit. Chapter 1072 begin their story content with a flashback monologue from Dr. Vegapunk. It seems he's talking about how whether or not the world accepts how she came to be, and the girl is unmistakably human. He says that it was a success, adding that he bears witness to this achievement and maintains that it is a huge step toward world peace. Meanwhile, in the present, Jewelry Bonnie is seen crying on the floor as a younger version of herself. She says that she thinks she broke something, a concerned Dr. Vegapunk to approach her and call for medics. However, Bonnie gets a glint in her eye as Dr. Vegapunk approaches. Using a move called Distorted Future to turn into a buff version of herself, Bonnie barely misses hitting him with a pipe, instead smashing a nearby wall into bits. Then sees Dr. Vegapunk try to reason with Bonnie. Bonnie uses a timely thrust to send him flying. Suddenly, various jewels begin spilling out of Dr. Vegapunk's stomach, as he suddenly transforms into a baby version of himself. Bonnie, now back in her normal form, approaches him, who explains that the jewels are a manifestation of the years he just lost. Dr. Vegapunk asks to be turned back to how he was, Bonnie to explain her power doesn't last forever on living things. She then asks him what his reason for not turning Kuma back was, asking why he killed her father. Dr. Vegapunk responds that if he tells her why, it would only serve to hurt her, and that's why he promised Kuma that he'd keep his secret from her no matter what. As he says this, the real Bartholomew Kuma is seen climbing the red line, seemingly making good progress in this endeavor. Then sees Bonnie question Dr. Vegapunk's sincerity, with the scientist responding that he really isn't trying to trick her. He even goes as far as to say that the decision was made by Kuma himself. Bonnie gets angry and calls Dr. Vegapunk a liar, claiming that her father would never choose to die and abandon her. Dr. Vegapunk responds that also it's been hard on him. He further adds that Kuma is an incredible man, one who he's been proud to call his close friend. As Dr. Vegapunk pleads with Bonnie to understand his position, then sees the Marines of Red Port shooting at the climbing Kuma. Meanwhile, Bonnie throws Dr. Vegapunk to the ground, telling him to spit it out since she won't accept his excuses. While Dr. Vegapunk hilariously calls this abuse, Bonnie hears beeping sounds coming from a nearby room. This distresses Dr. Vegapunk, who tries to tell Bonnie not to pay attention to what's over there since it has nothing to do with Kuma. However, she doesn't listen, calling it an obvious lie as she approaches a door with a paw print symbol. Bonnie uses her abilities through a move called Oil Breakdown to destroy away a lock restraint on the door's handle, allowing her to open it and enter the room. Shockingly reveals a massive ball of paw print shaped energy in the room, which comes from Kuma's devil fruit powers. As Dr. Vegapunk enters the room behind Bonnie, he has a flashback to a time he spent with Kuma, seemingly in this very room. The two are seen talking about memories, with Dr. Vegapunk explaining that a West Blue scientist once postulated person loses 21 grams of mass upon death, that could be considered the weight of their soul. Dr. Vegapunk, pointing out that such a link would prove that the soul does exist. He parleys this discussion into Kuma's powers, pointing out how it can take something as intangible as pain and give it a physical form. Furthermore, he can even transfer it to others, making it a totally wireless transmission of nerve signals. Dr. Vegapunk questions if the same logic can be applied to other nervous signals, such as imagination and memories. Kuma surmises that the doctor wants him to pull out his own memories and show him, to which he responds that it's far too personal a request. Dr. Vegapunk begs Kuma, promising that nobody else would see them as the flashback ends. Returns to the present, where Dr. Vegapunk tries to convince that the ball of energy is one of pain, saying it's more than enough to kill someone. However, Bonnie explains that he knows her father's ability all too well, implying that she has correctly guessed that this energy is Kuma's memories. As this plays out, Kuma is seen falling from the red line after being shot down by the Marines, falling to the ground and being swarmed by them. However, he uses his devil fruit powers to protect himself. Kuma seemingly beginning his climb up the red line once more. Then shifts to the lab stratum, where Nami, Usopp, Sanji, and Vegapunk Shaka are seen discussing how Rob Lucci is on the lab stratum. The latter apologizes for the system malfunction, while Usopp points out how lucky it is that Zoro and Brook stayed on the ship, saying that they'll never lose even in a 2 versus 3 matchup. However, Shaka reminds him that this battle is far more complicated than that. Pointing out the 4 Seraphim present alongside CP0. This means actually 2 against 7, with Zoro and Brook set to fight some of the world government's forces. Usopp cursed CP0 for calling in backup while the defense system was down. However, Shaka says he doubts that CP0 ordered them directly, revealing that the Seraphim have the capability to assess combat situations and have limited decision-making capability. In other words, the Seraphim themselves actively chose to capitalize on the barrier going down. This is confirmed by Rob Lucci saying that they didn't order them to come, with Stussy pointing out that it's not like they can make them back down with the security system now operational. As Shaka points out, with the Vegapunks able to turn the Seraphim back to their side since they're higher in the command hierarchy. As Vegapunk Lilith and Vegapunk Edison rush outside, they point out that the assumption of their making it in time is being made. Shaka says he'll leave it to them when Sanji muses on the irony of Zoro's death just before the end of their journey. However, Nami yells at him to go as well since the threat affects the whole crew, prompting him and Frankie to head out. Then shifts to Zoro and Brook, where the Brook is questioning what Keku is supposed to be. The green-haired pirate says he's supposed to be a giraffe but points out that Keku looks different from what he remembers. However, he adds that it won't matter since he'll end up as a diced corpse either way, prompting Keku to point out that's only if Zoro can cut him. Zoro asks Brook to look after the ship as he blocks an armament haki-infused attack from the awakened Keku. It's clear that he's in an awakened form by the black flames surrounding his body, matching Lucci's to a T in terms of design and color. Keku launches a nose gun Giraffe Man Giro at Zoro, who responds that he's had his fill fighting critters with zigzagging attacks back in Wano. As he says he's tired of it, he deflects Keku's attack, sending the CP0 agent slamming into the ground. Then sees Lucci order the Seraphim to destroy the lab stratum before Vegapunk arrives. Makes Nami, Usopp, and Shaka to worry. As the Seraphim launch their attack, Nami and Usopp are seen crashing to the ground from the impact while Shaka remains standing at the terminal. Keku comments on how the Seraphim know how to make a scene, pointing out that they're doing their job for them. Suddenly, someone appears behind Keku, biting into him and causing him to pass out. As Lucci looks over, he sees none other than Stussy standing over Keku's unconscious body. He asks her what she's doing, Stussy to respond that he's just putting Keku to sleep. She asks Lucci to join Keku as it's revealed that Stussy is a Mads clone of former Rocks Pirates member, Miss Buckingham Stussy. That's all for today, Animaniacs. Thanks for watching. See you again next time for another One Piece episode. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel for weekly updates.